Today we are going to talk about essential English phrases for successful meetings. So these are phrases that you can use in your professional setting when you are at work to make sure that your communication is precise, that the other person is able to understand, and that you're perceived as someone who communicates well. Now, but these phrases are great to use for other occasions where you want people to understand you better, where you want people to see you better, where you want to connect with people. Okay, so let's get started. Number one is let's get started. So this shows that you want to get to work as soon as possible, that you are a person of action, that you want to start working on something as soon as you're there. This also, it sets kind of a professional tone from the beginning, where the other person, the other party feels that it's time to focus and begin. Number two, can we move to the next item on the agenda? Often in business meetings or team meetings, people get lost on one aspect whereas the other agendas of the meeting get left behind. So if you're a person who can keep track and get the meeting moving, it will get more productive. So when you say, can we move on to the next item, it will also signal to the people that the first point or the second point or the point previous to this has been discussed enough. There is a kind of consensus on this, and to prevent the meeting from getting sidetracked, we need to move on to make sure all the other agendas are covered. Next is an amazing phrase, to get people involved, which is, what are your thoughts on this? So what do you achieve when you say this? Number one, you get people to get involved. People feel valued, people feel included, people feel validated, people feel acknowledged. Now this is way more powerful, and this is often quite underrated. We always tend to focus on ourselves, but when we start focusing on other people, giving them an opportunity to talk, asking them what are their views, it builds a certain rapport. People appreciate you more, and they'll be much more willing to work with you. And of course you will always get to hear a new idea, something new, a new way of looking at things, and even a very novel suggestion. So this is a very, very good way to get people involved, to get people to collaborate with you. Next, let's summarize the key points. Now this is a phrase that can be used not just in a meeting, but also at the start of the meeting to kind of understand what is everybody looking for. So if in one meeting there are 4 or 5 parties, there are 4 or 5 aspects to one meeting, if you start by summarizing the key points, you get to know what is the other party looking to get out of this. You also know where are they coming from, what is their reason to be here. And of course, at the end of a meeting, at the end of a discussion, then also it serves a great purpose by summarizing the key points, so everybody knows what was discussed, what was talked about, and what exactly was there any consensus on something, or there was no consensus. So it gives a lot of clarity when it comes to the end result of a meeting or a discussion. And last, we need to follow up on this. So often when it comes to discussions or debates or meetings, there are always certain points that due to lack of time, or perhaps people are not in the right frame of mind, they get left behind. But these points can be often pretty important. So when you say we need to follow up on this, and you make a note either electronically or however, people know that, okay, this is something that remains to be discussed, this is important, and we need to get back on this later, perhaps when at a better place and a better time for everyone involved. So these are 5 phrases. Now these are not just important for when you're dealing with people professionally, but even on a personal front, these phrases ensure that your discussion or your talks or your meetings stay in a very pleasant place, that you're able to negotiate, that you're able to have a dialogue, even with people who may not share your opinion, who may not share your worldview, And this will ensure that you get, first of all, that you get the people on the table. Most often when we are not able to communicate using the right verbiage, the worst thing that can happen is people just walk away. They don't give you an opportunity to put your ideas forward. But using these phrases, you will be able to invite people in. You won't have to force them, but rather invite them in, give them space to put forward their point. And this is certainly going to make your relationships at work, your negotiations way more easier, way more professional. So try these and let me know how they go, and thank you so much for watching.